Game 2, Immortals taking on VirtusPro, and there's a lot to be talked about here. Fortunately, I have some brains that I'll be picking. I'm Machine, I'm joined by Sponge and YNK/Yanko, Wanko, whatever you want to call him. Gentlemen, though, VirtusPro Immortals, and I really think it's interesting about where we can actually start this one. The Brazilians are a hot topic. I mean, they are truly a hot topic, not the pretentious store you went when you were 13 years old and painted your nails black. They are a topic of discussion currently in Counter-Strike. You know what hot topic is? Do you not know what that is?
Sorry, Matt.
I have no idea.
It's like where you get like
I probably shouldn't
I don't
even know, right?
sweatbands that you used to wear. I don't know, like an edgy necklace. No, not. Do you have a grunge phase? Can you imagine Chad having a grunge phase?
That's surprising, isn't it? Right there. Those
Oh, these are the odds.
VP is the favourites.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that.
By a considerable margin as well. There's some doubt from Immortals. I mean, let's talk about this then. I want to start with the Brazilians. Betway are giving them just decreased likelihood of winning this one. The guys at home are giving them, what, 60-40 split, perhaps still giving VP the edge. Talk to me a little bit about why they're certainly in the Counter-Strike news sphere, or at least the Twitter sphere as of late.
I think obviously them qualifying for the major, right? Yeah. You know, they finally popped their cherry in that regard. It took them, what was it, 4 attempts? I think we were talking about this the other day, right? It took them 4 attempts to get there. And now that they've finally got across that line and made it, they're looking like a very dangerous team. And not only that, I think, you know, with their recent results, people might sleep on the fact that it looked like they dropped their best, most experienced player in FNX, and now they have a player called KNG who's just beasting it up for these guys.
And he is beasting, right, Yanko? This KNG kid is, I keep calling people kids, I don't know where that's come from, but this KNG guy has walked in and he's already slapped down quite the statement with his AWP.
Yeah, he's had a couple of great performances. You can see on some of the maps he actually picks it up over Henny, whether it's based on maps or just how each player is feeling it at the moment. But it's not just that he fits the profile in-game wise, he also fits the team very, very well outside of the game, being in Bucharest last week, and he's definitely like a third brother to Henny and Lucas in terms of how emotional he is and how they react to winning rounds in those close games.
And I'm so glad we breached the topic of emotion. Of course, there was a big discussion about them being very vocal, loud when they win, perhaps even loud when they lose. This is something you're no stranger to, actually, Chad. You used to be in fact, the first time I met you, you were screaming your head off in a Polish hotel.
Bit of a muppet.
Yeah. But what do you make of, what's your kind of 2 cents on the discussion?
Okay, to be completely honest, the fact that if you can only win or lose a game based on the emotion that you can bring into it, that's not a good thing at all. I think it's very good to start a game with high emotion, make sure that you're starting the game properly. You don't want to go into it flat. You want to make sure you're fired up, pumped up. That doesn't necessarily need to be shown with you yelling, being crazy and stuff, but it definitely helps. And if some players can snowball from there, it's really good. But you need to make sure you're not just riding that high. Because when you lose eco rounds, which are going to happen, it is CSGO, then you hit those very low lows and you can find yourself in a bit of a pit of despair. So I think it's making sure you go into the game with the good energy. You can make sure you keep it at a decent level, and when you get close to closing that match, sure, get as fired up as you need. But to carry that throughout a tournament, best of threes, several games, it's hard to do.
And I imagine something that I have no personal experience of. I haven't competed at the same level you have, but does it not sometimes feel disingenuous when you're trying to hype people up when something's gone wrong? You're like, oh, nice try, we'll get them next time. Like, does it not feel like there's a kind of disingenuous and almost a hindrance to your play when that happens?
So for me, I always played better when I was getting hyped up and fired up and going off of that. Yeah, and the problem is when we acknowledged, or at least Yam, he said that we needed to kind of dial it back and be more of a calmer team. Yeah. And from there, I kind of found myself falling into an emotional pit of despair, not in a good way.
I remember that.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
We've all been
qualifiers.
Depressing times. But I think, you want to make sure that, like I'm saying, just well-balanced emotion. It is the best way to do it.
Well-balanced Immortals. And I mean, getting to the major is a big step. Here in Cologne is another one, looking to see if they can start with a bang versus VirtusPro. And of course, VirtusPro, team you actually went and hung out with in Atlanta. I mean, Clash for Cash, game versus arguably, if not one of the best teams in the world.
Sure.
What do we say about this one?
Yeah.
People that didn't catch it, fill us in.
Basically just a show match concept between two teams who were at the final of the last major,
of course.
Going head-to-head for $250,000. So pretty exciting concept, and the cool thing about it was they could prepare a lot for each other and their opponents. The issue there was Australis didn't really know what VirtusPro had done in their off time since all these things have happened to them. And a lot of people watched back those games and go, it wasn't very exciting. Australis, they took it away pretty easy in a 2-1 fashion. But the VP that I saw was reinvented in a way. They had approached the game in a new sense. They've changed some people around, places, roles, that kind of stuff. Right. And I think they have, they're one of these teams that we always talk about being a big stage team. Whether you can get hyped off what they were doing in that environment, I'm not quite sure what the mental situation was for them, but I'm very, there's a lot of promise for these guys going into this event, I think.
Absolutely, there is. I mean, Yanko, this is a team that in the video we've seen, from Taz, is that they acknowledge now that they are not only a big stage team, but a team that will be either, going out in group stage and hanging their head in shame, or trying to lift that trophy.
It's probably not the best thing for a team.
But I mean, it's so odd. It's such a
about
unique concept.
Your inconsistency so much. Yes, it is, and there's no easy answer for it, because looking at it from the outside, you don't see any objective reason why a team that was second at T-League, first place at DreamHack Masters, goes out in groups in the next 2 tournaments, and really with a super underwhelming performance, losing their best maps and so forth. But I think to get an answer, you really need to know what goes on inside the team, right? VP is a team that maybe they get too confident after those 2 great runs in Atlanta and in Vegas, and maybe they don't practice as much. Maybe they think, okay, we are at our peak right now, we can beat anyone. And the truth is, like, you really need to keep working no matter what. Even if you're the best team in the world, you constantly need to reinvent yourself. Absolutely. Because people will always look up to you and to your games and try to figure you out.
Well, we were given a gracious bit of intel from, of course, Freiburg. We were talking to him yesterday. He was saying that they have been putting in some serious hours. They're online, at 11 a.m. and they'll be grinding out throughout that day. They evidently are putting in the effort. And let's not forget, the last 3 years at ESL 1 Cologne, they have made it to the playoffs. They want to make it 4, and we'll see if they can do that with their first game. Yes, please, for everyone and for the fans that will be in the Lanxess. Let's not forget that VP corner. That was fantastic. Let's bring up those vetoes, though. As you can see, Overpass has already been taken away. Typically, you end up in a middle ground. I guess that's more of a look towards what Immortals are capable of.
Mirage or something is pretty comfortable for both teams, right?
Okay.
That's somewhere which I think this could be heading for sure. I'm not sure how Inferno kind of plays into these 2 teams' map.
It's been a very good map for Immortals. So VP, if they're not, if it's not their top 2 map, they should probably veto it out. Again, for Immortals, you can see Nuke. That's the standard veto for them, and you definitely don't want to play it against VP. So it's interesting to see VP, the work they put in. How does their map pool look like now? Because historically, lately, it has been Cobblestone, Mirage, right? The 2 best maps. Train and Nuke are probably 3 and 4. So
they always get it, though. It does seem like they always people are aware of that. We're aware of that, but they always seem to get to play it. And it's happened again. VP on Cobble.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, because it always seems like they're relying, or at least when I watch games that they have control of, you always see massive performances from Snacks over towards A, and in that side hall with the shotgun, with the AWP close range, that kind of stuff. And they can make bad decisions on their CT side. Pasha, he's always very aggressive towards that B platform, can get picked off a lot. So if the guys from Immortals know how to punish that, it could be an issue for VP. But the unknown factor right now with VP, how are they coming into this one? Because we didn't get to see them play that against Astralis. It's not a map pool. It's not a map that Astralis play.
Absolutely.
So this could be something that they've worked really hard on, as Janko said, in their top 3 maps. So they'd be confident going into this one.
There certainly is some confidence, and one man in particular on Immortals was oozing it. It is Mr. Sunshine and Rainbows himself, the man with the effervescent smile. It's Steel from Immortals. He spoke to our man on the scene in MMC.
Right before they get into their matchup against VirtusPro, you guys are coming off a fresh qualification for the major. What's the team vibe right now?
Yeah, we are so confident right now. It's not like everyone knows that VirtusPro is an excellent team, legendary, but our confidence is getting higher and higher playing here in Europe. And this major qualifier, it was so good for us, especially before this tournament.
Yeah, that's a huge confidence booster. You guys obviously coming into Cologne having big expectations. Now, first round matchup against VirtusPro. Some people sleep on VirtusPro sometimes. What are your thoughts going into this matchup?
To be honest, I think they're prepared. We are almost at the major, and everyone knows that when VirtusPro are playing majors, they are a different team. So I think they're super prepared for this tournament, but we are so prepared too.
Outstanding. So I don't think you guys know the maps yet, but what sort of preparation did you guys came straight from Bucharest. Now, have you played since you've been here?
No, we haven't, but before Bucharest, we had a boot camp, so our map was stronger than ever, so we can play almost every single map right now, especially against them.
Okay, well, that does it for us. Thank you, Steel. I appreciate you as always.
They can play every single map, and yet they give VirtusPro what feels like home ground at this point in time.
Can't
VirtusPro
really play every
a
single
whole
map.
lot of Cobble. You don't believe that then, Janko?
Definitely can't play Nuke, for example.
Yep.
struggled on
And everything likes to say it, yeah, we can play every map.
Some teams can.
Cobble is a good map for them, but they can be one-dimensional on that map. A lot of it revolves around that B bomb site, and Chad already pointed out Pasha on the city side that he is the player playing closest there. So that's something that for VP is very easy to scout. You know that they're going to be coming towards that B bomb site. You can prepare yourself to an extent where you want to fight them early on towards platform, or do you want to let them run their execute, defend, drop, clear that out, and then just retake?
We might get completely caught off guard here, and they've mixed up all their CT positions, because this is historically what we're talking about, right? This is what we've seen from them before, and in this lead-up, there hasn't been very much for VP going on. So if they've remodeled it, that's going to throw Immortals off as well.
And I mean, that is something that, I mean, you have a luxury of doing when you're an in-game leader,
Exactly.
right? Is there something quite special about that feeling when you know the other team has no idea what's coming?
There's
Things
that,
have changed.
and there's the other side of the coin where if you have done your homework and you know exactly what a team is going to do, and
Right.
it works perfectly, and you book their rotations and you completely shut them out of the game in that regard, that's a really good feeling because you know you're in full control. And when they take a pause, you know they're sitting there thinking, you know, what do we do
have they
now?
done? Right. And that's, of course, something that happens when you have time to prep, like boot camps.
Yeah.
Steel said he's done one. VirtusPro have taken some time off to
Sure.
go ahead and do that, of course, after Atlanta. I think, you know, it's safe to say here, Janko, the majority of ESL 1 Cologne teams have actually been putting in a lot of homework, a lot of preparation, a lot of perhaps looking up their opponents as well, than we get to see in other tournaments.
Yeah, you have, because of the whole major cycle, right? You had the minors, you had the major qualifier that for a lot of the teams that was, you know, the most important tournament. Everyone wants to get to the major. So teams who already have legend status, like VP, like FaZe, like SK, you know, they had more time. FaZe didn't play an official game for over a month leading up to ECS ever since IEM Sydney, for example. So they had a lot of time to rework the maps, add new strategies so that they don't get figured out as easily. So that's why it's going to be very exciting. I don't think like at this tournament you can save strats or anything like that. Teams have to test it out. This is a great, like, you know, everyone's going to be obviously trying their best to win, so you can try out the new things that you practiced on and see how it works in a competitive environment.
Absolutely. In competitive environment, this is day one of ESL 1 Cologne, and Immortals are going to once again try and rock the boat. VirtusPro, if we speak generally for a moment, Chad, do you equally, as others have in the green room or online, do you equally believe there's going to be a bounce back from VirtusPro?
Yeah, definitely.
You do?
From what I saw in Atlanta,
That
I
was
think
enough.
there's definitely. I know it wasn't impressive by any means, the scorelines or anything like that. They got blown out
Map
of the water.
one was cool.
Yeah, exactly, right? But I definitely think it's a new face VP, and I always have confidence in these guys in the sense of they show up to tournaments like this. You know, it's getting to be a cliche at this point, but you can never rule these guys out. And I think the high, as I said in the last game, I thought the high for MOUZ coming off the major qualifier in this fashion they did it is a positive thing, and they can carry that through and go, hey, look, that was really clean.
Yeah.
With Immortals, it was pretty dirty. Sure, they're confident in the way that the fact they qualified, but if you look at the way that they got to that major, it wasn't very easy. They made it very hard on themselves, and I think that high they're going to be dipping down quite quickly.
I mean, we can touch on it for a moment. Yanka, you were over there as well. You got to see some of Immortals play. Surely there were some glimmers of you know, the Immortals we know in other environments. So of course, major qualifiers seem to be a bit of a bane for them.
I think the difference is there's so much pressure on you in the major qualifier. Like, you could tell that last game they had versus Hellraisers towards the very end, both teams were just scared to make a move. Like, you're playing Overpass, a map where you need to get map control and so forth, and they were just not doing anything for 40 seconds out of fear of getting picked off, right? So the fact that they managed to overcome that, they had some tough matchups as well, you know, opening game versus G2 and so forth, had to fight Hellraisers and so on. They really have proven themselves at that qualifier. And for VP, you know, for Immortals, you can at least place them somewhere. They're like between 10th and 15th place, somewhere around there. VP, I always say, like, I don't put them in any ranking. For me, they don't exist. They're somewhere out there. VP is somewhere out there. They will show up. Maybe they will be like a top 3 team. They will play like a top 3 team, or they will play like a top 20 team. So that's the thing, and it sucks to say it every single time. Well, it depends which VP shows up. Depends if you see the plow or the other thing. And
so let's do something different.
It is what it is.
Let's do something different. Let's talk about when they are the top 3 VP. Like, because we haven't had that discussion for a long time. It's nice to bring that back up. Like, when they're top 3 VP, as you've mentioned, what is going right? Do we start with Snacks? Because it's been so long since he was a topic of discussion of just how scary he is in a server.
It's definitely not just him, right? The one thing with VP that I look at is the fact that everybody can be the star in that team. Snacks is the standout. He's the one player. I think everybody can have standout games where they carry, right? And they can do that. But that doesn't mean that you're playing well as a team. I think when I notice the best VP playing is their T-side pacing, the way that they can control their decision-making, their strategies. The stuff I used to like with old school VP when the plow was in full effect, and really I hate that term, is when they would get mid control on Mirage and be able to throw A splits, B splits, be able to get mid control, drop back into executes, and that's the VP that I like to see. But in terms of them being, you know, the top 3, it's when everybody is on the same page and the decision making looks smooth.
Absolutely. Now, Janko, top 3 VP.
I think that it's just that they can make any map look T-sided. You know,
that's
they
sick,
are
yeah.
they are very good at the methodical play style, taking over map control, and having a counter for how you are going to fight them for it, and just be one step ahead of you, and then throw in a fast pace execute. So the change of pace, you really don't know what to expect from them. And then when you switch to the CT side, again, it's the aggression. You remember that E-League Major Grand Final on Train, it looked like they're going to run away with the game because of how aggressive they were towards B-Halls, towards Ivy, always being one step ahead of Astralis. So obviously, in order to make that style work, your players don't need to be the best in the server, but you need to maintain a fairly high level to make that work. And I think that's the problem with VP. Their style is to an extent reliant on it, and when they are out of focus, when they're a bit rusty, it can fall apart.
We just saw bolts on the screen as well, right? And I think going into matchup specifics based off of what Yanko's talking about here in the VP being able to control that T side and make Cobble is still debatable. It depends on which teams are playing it, whether it's CT or T sided. Bolts for me on the CT side for Immortals is going to be super important because I want to touch on the fact that he's gone back to the in-game leader role, and when he was in-game leading before, I think that's when he looked his best in this team, and now he's doing it again, and he's having a really good performance. So it's interesting that you can have a player who, when he's in-game leading, is actually doing better than when he's not. And
Like automatic, right? These are the same similar.
I think they've gone back to Stewie now.
Are they actually?
Yeah, they moved back to Stewie. But, when you're the in-game leader and you know exactly what's going on and you can frag within that unit and everything's going as it should, and you can stand up like bolts, it's very impressive to do stuff like that. So I'm going to be interested to see his CT impact because if I remember rightly, I'm racking my brain a little bit here, but I think he plays around the drop area, right?
I'm not sure, to be honest. But
You've already outlined
think
things are going to probably change as well.
Yeah,
even when Phelps was in the team, Bolts for me was the quiet star of that team because he was so consistent. You would rarely see him have a very, very bad game.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so rare that you would see him put up like 30 kills within a game and just have constantly like 2 kills per round and so forth. So yeah, I agree that he's one of the most important players.
So with what you've said, Chad, especially, a layman such as myself would probably sit there and think, so you're saying when he's leading a team, he's fragging better. That means he's just putting himself in better scenarios. He's
Not
making
always.
himself comfortable at the cost of others.
He's not really a space maker, right, for the team on the T side. When I saw these guys playing in the NA minor, everybody was finding their entry frags. Everyone was doing their job because the level of competition was a lot lower. But the guys who stand out for me is the way that KNG and Lucas is that deady entry frag, right? He tries to just make as much space as possible. But when KNG is allowed a little bit of space, he's going to take all of it, right? Some of the stuff he was doing, like pushing into connector on train and flanking around to inside, those guys right there are the ones who are, going to be able to make the most impact. Whereas Bolt's just knowing the system, he just knows what he needs to do, and that's why he's like a quiet star.
I do like that we've seen the circle break. Immortals are taking their seats. So are our casters. So without further ado, I have to say we get this one underway. In summary, VirtusPro at their best can make any map look T-sided, according to Yanko. And eyes on Bolts, once again in the leadership role, going to be driving them through Cobble, trying to pick up their first win in their debut game of ESL 1 Cologne. VirtusPro have made the playoffs of every ESL 1 Cologne the last 4 instances they've been here in the Lanxess Arena. Let's see if they can go ahead and make it 5. They start versus Immortals. Your casters, Henry G and Sedekist.
Thank you so much, Alex. Yes, I am very excited for this game for a number of reasons. First and foremost, we haven't seen VirtusPro in a full tournament. We saw, obviously, the clash for cash in a while. They need to recover. They need to rebound, especially with the major coming up in their home country. And speaking of home country, Immortals have qualified for that event. Let's not forget the best international results for them. Yes, okay, they've won a few tournaments, in my opinion, were Katowice.
Yeah.
That was in Poland. They always play well there, so they're going to be looking to continue on good form into the major. This game has all the ingredients to be a great one.
Absolutely. Immortals up against VirtusPro. We heard the interview from Taz himself. They've adjusted roles. They're looking to kind of, rejuvenate themselves, I guess would be fair to say. Like we've kind of discussed the Clash for Cash. They looked okay. They won a map off Astralis and got completely destroyed in the other two. But they've been boot camping, right? They've been trying to change things up and bring a new game plan to this next season of big events we've got coming up. Obviously, ESL 1 Cologne is huge for them, and then moving into the major as well. This is why they've been boot camping. Pressure on. I think this is a good gauge for them. Immortals, I wouldn't say they're a world-class team right now. They've just about qualified for the major. It was 5th round qualifications. They went down, 2-2, then just about got through against Hellraisers.
And went down 12-3
exactly.
against
So
Godsend.
I don't think they're looking like amazing form right now, but some of the players are. Bolt especially looks amazing. Like he looks so good for this team. Steel had some very good games as well.
Could you say Immortals have bolts of steel?
That's good. I like that.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
But historically as well, Immortals Cobblestone, this is one of their favourite maps. Maybe not with this particular lineup. When they had FNX in, I think they looked very good with it. I'm interested to see what they bring to the table. And more so, obviously, with VirtusPro as well. Have they changed up the AWP again? That seems to be something they love to change up. It's normally Pasha on the main AWP, but Snacks can definitely AWP as well. Same story for Neo, and I'm interested to see where that goes, especially, and just where the CT setups on the CT side of Cobblestone, obviously, as well.
Cobblestone it is. Immortals obviously like this map. VirtusPro, I never, ever really know what they like and don't like.
We'll find out.
The flavor of the month. Eau de jour.
Well, here we go.
Yep, going to start CT side. They knife for sides in these best of ones, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, 4 sets of armor. Henny with the smoke and 2 flashbangs here. And we're going to see what they bring to the table. Normally that smoke goes towards connector. This looks like a potential A split. We have one player towards top and middle. Of course, that's going to be Henny. All players will drop down. They'll probably go through the window, and Henny will be there to take some aggro away for them as they go towards the A side. Still commit towards B, of course. Depends how the initial interactions go. They find the first couple of kills or some rotating frags from B. They could always fall back as well. But that looks like the initial setup for me, at least. The smoke has been deployed. And in we go.
Down by Neo already. Bialy, good setup as they get inside of the drop. VP sets a crossfire for it. You can hold it passively, I suppose. VirtusPro shows us how that's done. And he's going to be the next and last to try and go in toward the site. Gets a pick on Bialy, but he's no Snacks. And this is Pasha to take him down 1-0 VirtusPro.
Rather anticlimactic, I have to say, there from Immortals. You're completely ravished as they came in towards the B bomb site there. It seemed like there was one taps all over the place. Immortals, no bomb going down, will be forced by in the second. But there, that was actually towards the B site, getting towards drop down, sure, but VirtusPro crossfires all over the site, long range duels, and managing to win every single one. I think they gave away 1 kill there. So, interesting enough though, VirtusPro with 3 MP9s. Is this an adjustment of their new game plan? I haven't seen this before. UMP, sure, but not MP9s at this stage. Like, they're not really that versatile. You can't really use them for the first gun round, but that's one of them gone. I'm not sure I agree with this purchase from them. You know you're up against armor as well with the Tech 9. Their bomb went down. Neo gets 1 back in return. Or was it drop down?
Snacks and Steel gone, so 4 versus 4 forces VirtusPro to be a little bit more passive. MP9's in play for them. Maybe we'll see the return of the snake.
That would be nice.
In the grass, it literally is that time, Henry.
Yep. VirtusPro, yeah, that's one of the, I guess, most well-known strategies on this map. The eco setup towards the middle.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have to be on an eco. Right now, they're in control.
But yeah, interesting idea. 3 MP9s, one of them's gone down. We do have a scout for Henny, of course. KNG with the picked up SMG. They're going back towards B. No nades, that's the problem on Cobblestone. 45 seconds as well. Pasha tucking himself in that tight corner. Good for 1 frag, probably, with no utility to flush him out. Will be baited in by his teammates. Good incendiary, perfect usage FIVP, just to buy them some more time.
Pasha at the archway, Molotov in front, but not deployed onto him. Flashes himself, gets flashed in by his teammate, I should say. Teammate being Neo. He only gets 1 kill out of it, but gets the information they're all there. They act accordingly on the VirtusPro side, and again, it's just Henny that remains. They try and chase him down. Goes back with the scout. Desperate attempt at this point. Get close on the UMP, so SMG's getting all of the kills. Lots of money built up for VirtusPro, and they go 2-0 over Immortals.
Yeah, pretty decent round from VirtusPro. Got a bit scary to start, losing the first weapon, but Immortals there, as we said. It's always so difficult in those second round force buys at the T's, because you don't really get the grenades to work. If you get those Tech 9s, I think you're better off going something very fast and overwhelming. 5 players in the same position. Maybe drop down or danger, fast up middle. I think when you do a default round like that, sure, you might get 1 pick, but then how you actually get into the bomb site. It's going to be round number 3, full eco here. Only $300 invested into this round. Immortals with 1 P250. They'll go towards B. It's so unlikely. It's not like train B bomb site where you can just walk in and hopefully get a trade and get a bomb down. It's very, very unlikely you'll get this on Cobblestone. Probably be aiming for 1 or 2 kills at best. Asher might be able to give it to him as well. He's only got a pistol here on the upper platform, doing considerable damage with steel. That nade might just finish him off. He moves out of position, so that's fine.
Shot Pasha. He does move him out, but Tech 9 still going to pick apart. When trying to get close to the site. Tech 9 Pasha suggests that he might be going to the AWP early. We know Snacks has been playing with it a little bit more recently. He meanwhile has the UMP top middle. A side finds Henny. Neo will close out Steel. 3-0. This time all 5 stay alive, continuing to build up some cash. 1 kill this time for Taz on a rifle, but they'll upgrade, and an AWP immediately for Pasha, so hence the save on the Tech 9. He got 1 kill with the MP9 in the last round, 1 on the Tech in the last, and he's set and ready.
Well, there it is. I was speculating as to whether they maybe change the AWP role for this event. Pasha will be on the main AWP, though, for the looks of things. Snacks can definitely AWP this map as well. No bombs down in his first 3 rounds for Immortals, so no AWP for them. They're quite an AWP-centric team with the likes of Henny and KMG available to them, but they're still going to have to just do it with AK-47s. Pasha, like you said, stepping up with the AWP. Towards the big platform, that's where he usually plays. Misses the first shot. Might get another chance to take it here. Quite a slow round from Immortals generally. Looking for some mid-control as well. Snacks and Taz hold towards long A.
Pasha down toward the drop position. Rather looking that direction down the corridor at B. Top drop definitely occupied. And he, meanwhile, close to long A, has Snacks trying to get aggressive with him. Bolts is found boosted. Found bolted, but it's Pasha that finds the kill from the AWP. So both sides of the sites and map being worked on. They try and play a pick strategy on Immortals. Snacks will back off. Doesn't have a whole lot of support out toward the corner at long where he was playing. There is support from Taz inside of the site, so they go more passive. That'll give a little more map control to Immortals, but a boost up for Snacks on the UMP.
We haven't seen this boost in quite a while.
And not with a UMP either.
Yeah.
But it's going to be Taz that goes forward of it, so it actually double stacks toward the bottom of middle, which is now shown. Snacks doesn't get the chance to back off, but it does bait in Taz. Only 2 kills. Lucas is able to pull it back, but AKs. And Henny going in from long. Still don't have a lot to work with, despite the fact that its rotation's coming around. Henny gets 1 kill, Pasha's there in the AWP. Bomb's not yet planted, 20 seconds. If they get toward Romeo, they can actually cut off the cross. They won't get there in time, so Lucas should get a plant out. He's going to make sure he smokes off and plants hotspot, oddly enough, which is the most exposed position, but it now gives him a better chance to immediately react once the bomb goes down. Bialy and Pasha both inside the site toward the APC, waiting patiently to see if Lucas gets impatient on the other side of it, see if he'll peek too early. They've got time to work with. They each have a kit. Lucas has gone to the barrels, which gives him a forward angle, but good trade. VirtusPro played that perfectly together. Nice and patient, waited for Lucas to make the move.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. Just get his information. Like, he's going to have to peek at some point. He has no idea whether they're walking up, pincering him. He spots 1 player on the APC. Bialy, though, like he said, very calm. Manages to recover the AWP as well. Good round there from VirtusPro. As Pasha, they kick things off with the upper platform pick towards the B site. Funneled them in towards A, and then we saw the boost actually working against Snacks there as well. He looked down for somebody. He's looking at the floor. Didn't really make sense to me. I could see at the top of the screen the player walks in. It's horrible timing. Not really sure what he was looking for there, but his teammate Taz stepping up with the Famas gets 2 frags. Pasha with the rotating kill, and now we have the double AWP set up. This is something VirtusPro do like to run. Snacks, very aggressive AWPer, and he's going towards long A as usual. This is his favourite part of the map, of course. Using incendiaries to buy himself some time. And KMG with the first frag finds Bialy. That's going to be towards drop down. He's actually got in the connector very quickly here. I don't think they'll be ready for this.
Taz definitely has to play reverse role at this point in time. Already in this site. Good entry from Steel. Good shot from Snacks to fight from his corner, literally at long. Trying to cover off both angles as Lucas is going to work up from danger as well. He's on to a suspicion. He's got a hunch, but hasn't done anything of it. He's going to play it more passive. Quite smart, actually, to back all the way off of this as well. Create an angle that's favorable, but he had to go back at some point, and Lucas just got there in time. Pasha has one of the other ops. The other op, I should say, on the CT side. He'll try and save that at this point, no doubt. So Immortals will pick up their first round on round 5, our second full gun round. Good news, though, for VirtusPro is that they have been accumulating money quite quickly. They've invested quite a bit over the last few rounds with AWPs and whatnot, but they've got enough left over.
Especially Pasha saves this AWP for sure. That's a faster round for Immortals, though. KNG is completely out-dueling Bialy by himself in the drop down. Got to connect to fast as well. He's stopping those rotations. He's just staying alive as long as he possibly can. Then it's down to Snacks and Taz, who couldn't really get much done there at the long A position. Snacks, one of the best players in the world, I'd say, at long A. Only gets 1 kill with the AWP and then shut down by the rotating player. It's going to be the first round posted for Immortals here as we go into round number 6. Money's still okay, like we said. VirtusPro do save the AWP. They purchased a second one, so that's where they want to be, it seems. Double AWP setup is their preferred stance for now. The other players, though, meaning they're down to pistols. Neo 5-7, same story for Bialy as well. Henny now on the AWP. The main AWPer, of course, for Immortals. Just have KMG by inside if required. For now, though, it's Snacks alone on the A side. Does have Towers rotating in, but Snacks at the first shot. Finds Lucas, falls back as well. No refrag opportunity for the terrorist side. Gets himself into another position, a different line, as he knows he has to work a bit harder here, considering he has 2 players just on pistols.
So Snacks again playing from the corner at long. CT side corner, not pushed out toward the bales. He'll watch and spot KNG sitting completely unaware that he was on his right side, KNG's right side. He was expecting him to come from the site itself, so gets a free shot. They do pull it back. Steel finds Taz. Double up and 2-5-7s remaining as Snacks sets a crossfire that allows them into the site, but again, Bolts is going to lurk up late through the smoke. And Snacks was found here last time. Bolts, he's going to try and push him this time. Scoped in, absolutely knows he's there. That gives him up. Down he goes. He's been left alone there twice. Lucas, it looked like he was going to find Lucas in the last round. This time, Bolts may have walked in too soon, but Pasha finds Bolts after he walks in, so still a chance for it as Henny, 13 HP, Steel 17. Bialy on a 5-7 is definitely still a factor in this round along with Pasha. As bomb gets planted, Henny safe side, and aid goes through. It's 9 now to work with for Henny as he tries to get a fast shot on toward Romeo, but no one's there. They've gone through the door instead. Flash over. Henny's got to back off. They know he's on the site. They've heard the shot, so it's the AK that becomes the problem for Steel. He's going to back off the stables. Henny, with that information, is able to catch Pasha. But Bialy has picked up a weapon. We said he was a factor. He definitely becomes more so than that now. He does not have a kit. He's got some time to work with. He's got to bait out Steel. He's got to peek. He's got to snap fast to his left, and he can't do it fast enough. Good accuracy from Steel. He knew exactly where the bomb was.
Big round there from Immortals. Comes down to the tight clutch as well. Steel, good play. Low HP. Bialy, like you said, no kit. Couldn't go for the full defuse. Steel times the perfection as well. Comes out, blows his head off. Good awareness as to where the bomb is down. And that came down to Snacks, really. He gets his first 2 frags, sure, but he was stuck in between long A. His teammates dropped on the A side, so he has to stay in that tight corner. Bolts on the other side of the smoke. He deployed to protect himself. He hears the scope come through, pushes the smoke, and manages to find the key kill. At that point, Pasha did chime in as well, but wasn't quite enough. The 1v1 eludes Bialy. We go 4-2 here. I think the money has been broken for VirtusPro as well, so they'll take the pause. I think this might be technical, you know.
There's a lot of chatter for a technical pause. I don't see any admins rushing to aid, but Immortals are certainly not as talkative.
I think they're going to... Well, they're saying this is a server issue.
Okay, so fair enough. Typically speaking, yeah. So I think it is. This is more what I would expect to see from a technical. No one speaking at all, because typically they have to mute. It's not allowed to be used as tactical. So there's confirmation. Good spot for you. I guess you are on the server. I should trust you more, Henry.
Yeah.
I've lost trust
Sometimes.
in humanity.
4-2. Well, VirtusPro. Great start, winning the first 4 rounds, but Steel and Co now looking very good, especially these tight clutches on the A bomb side as well. No really convincing rounds just yet. They're having to be a little bit tested, but they have broken the money of VirtusPro now, giving them a chance to really get back into this.
Just want to point out something going on Cash on our B stream.
Go on.
Space Soldiers coming into this, they've struggled to qualify for various events. They even played in, I think they were in Germany itself too, to try and qualify for the minor.
Yeah.
Didn't make it through, and I was a bit surprised by that because they're a team that I've always said has the upset potential. It is currently 10-3 for them over SK.
I saw that. I saw them
SK
playing
goes
it.
back to Cash as well, which has been an issue for them in the past.
They are an incredibly skilled lineup, but against the likes of SK Gaming, arguably the #1 team in the world right now.
Apparently, Lurpus sent out a tweet saying you would expected them to prepare because they had time to prepare, seeing the opening draw in the bracket for how the Swiss system started off. But he said, how can you prepare for this style? So obviously SK is up to no good, doing something, or sorry, excuse me, Space Soldiers is up to no good, doing something rather intuitive and elaborate. Unorthodox, perhaps. I wish I could see it, but I'm very excited. I have Space Soldiers as my dark horse in this event.
You've always been a fan of those guys. And
let's clarify that. A fan not saying that they could be a top team or, oh yeah, they're the next, they're the next. But a fan in that, no, but I just want to clarify because I've never said that they could be the best team in the world, but I've always been very curious as to what they would do on a stage with some of the better teams in the world.
Sure, me too. They said in their video as well, the little kind of intro we had to them earlier in the day, they prefer playing on LAN. Obviously, when they're playing in Turkey and stuff, they get like 90 ping to every, even European servers. So it's really difficult to get a real test. Even if they're playing those minor qualifiers online, they're still playing with that difficult setup. So it's great to see them turning up on LAN, like Calix and Xantaras as well. We saw what they can do at the 2-on-2. Obviously, can't take too much away from that. We knew they were very, very skilled players indeed, and I'm very excited for that. If they win that game against SK Gaming, this could be an exciting tournament. That's kind of nuts. Yeah,
that could be a very, very exciting prospect. Keep in mind that it would put if that goes through, SK and Fnatic both in the 0 and 1. The Swiss system seemed like the solution to a seeded group where you get, especially in the major, where you get two teams that are residual, if you will, that come over from being in the playoffs last time that maybe aren't even on form. There's so much time between majors. And you can have some groups that are rather lopsided. You always have a group of death, and you always have one that's relatively easy. And it continues to be a trend that breaks itself in that if you have an easy group, you get a team that doesn't deserve to be there, suddenly they're in seeded higher next time, and it's a continuous cycle. So it seemed like the solution. I've got to give it more review. I think the Swiss system best of one, because one upset just it compounds itself in that it continuously creates sort of an avalanche effect, the snowball effect of how the bracket goes. It's definitely exciting and interesting.
From a spectator point of view, I think it's really cool.
It is, but it's still not.
Every system is going to have its flaws, right?
Absolutely.
That's
I guess a best of 3 Swiss or a reseeded Swiss maybe, in the fact that we go sort of 8 teams, or 6-6, and then after you go to your 1-1s or 0-2s, whatever, then you cross over. But anyway, you could always do and debate that for days. We are back into it. It is the terrorists out of Immortals with guns. They've broken down VirtusPro with 2 straight rounds, having lost the opening 4. So the pistols and no armor, a nade for Taz, I was about to say Snacks, but for Taz, and a deagle for Pasha to try and shut down Immortals, and that deagle has started off well. An opening shot, a 1-shot onto Henny, but Lucas avenges his brother, takes down Pasha. They'll start to work toward the B entrance.
Here we go then. A chance for VP to cause some damage here. I think that's all they'll do, though. That was the only player with a really upgraded pistol. We have one more PT50, but that deagle was very nice from Pasha Biceps, absolutely. We're going to see whether VP can find anything else here. Not much to report, I'm afraid. And it looks like it's going to be one more frag for Taz, maybe not quite. So you get 1 kill in total and 4-3 coming in. Immortals with 3 rounds in a row now. Money's starting to balance out slightly. VirtusPro can certainly bring out the AWP once again, but Snacks, he's brought up that so interesting weapon, the Mag 7. He's so good at this, Matt. Somehow he makes it work every single time
at long
A. That's nuts. The only player that consistently gets 2 frags with this weapon. We'll see whether he does it once again. It's around round array. He could have brought more. You can see he's got so much utility, the fuse kit as well, but he wants the Mag 7. He actually brings it to the table more often than not.
And he's at long again. We know JW's used a shotgun. Typically the pump for him at drop, but you mentioned it. Ooh, they're nading it. I wonder if they have an inkling. I wonder if they're suspecting something. They'll definitely know Snacks' presence will be here. But how do they approach it? With a shotgun, he misses the opening shot. First time in a while I've said that in that position. So Lucas is able to take him down as Henny finds Taz. That'll open up the A side, at least for now. They rotate over. They'll be there just about the same time, by which the terrorists will be arriving in this site. Neo has to fire a KNG, but comes out. Well, it doesn't really come out of the battle at all. It comes out worse for where it goes down. It's Bialy that follows the same grave mistake, and Pasha, the last alive, just trying to save the AWP at this point in time. Too obvious, I think, if he went toward T-spawn after getting a kill in tunnel, so he'll try and battle his way out of this situation.
Very convincing round from Immortals once again. We know they're a good Cobblestone team, especially on the T side, right? That's when they actually seem to be the absolute best. I mean, I've always said the word like flamboyant. I think it's very cool, and watching them just work as a pack and having great aims going in together. Lucas, a player I would say was absent in the major qualifier for them, but he's stepping up and going above and beyond. Pasha, the last player remaining, now desperately trying to hold up the AWP. Won't last for very long though. KNG finds him, shuts him down. We're tied up here, 4-4. Definitely a T-sided map, but it's VirtusPro on another eco here from what I can see. Going to have maximum loss rate his next rounds. Probably get some more deagles. Some Max 7. Snacks is all in. All right, Snacks, calm down. No apprehension there whatsoever. He just went all in. Max 7 head armor as well. Why does he need head armor against AKs, man? Please tell me.
He needs it for the duel with the pistol after they miss the opening shots.
So once they miss 30 bullets, he's ready.
Exactly.
For it. Okay.
Don't ask for my logic and expect no answer. I'll give you something every time, Hank. Typically wrong, but I'll give you something. These bolts will give Pasha more than something. He'll give him 3 or 4 AK bullets to think about to the chest, KNG. The same to Neo. Good shot from Taz. The deagles have been hitting. They're doing damage on these rounds. This is the second time we've seen pistols, and Bolt is on 3. They've already got 2 kills before that. Pistols have definitely been doing damage.
They know what Snacks is, though. That was ideal for him.
He's trying his hardest.
Yeah, he's already been tagged down to 17. A bit of cat and mouse going on here. It looks like Snacks will be dealt with momentarily. Could find the frag of the silent spear. Take a hell of a shot, but Henny, he's got 1 ready to go. Takes him down, and that force buy from Snacks.
Snacks is that annoying guy during hide and seek, where you check where you think he is, and he sees you check it, and then he goes, well, I know he's already checked it, I'll just move there. and he just keeps
That's
moving,
quite
and you
good.
can never find the guy
Yeah.
because he's just like right behind
That
you.
was a crazy good tactic. I remember that.
Yeah.
As soon as you got room to go, you just get in there.
Yeah. Oh, he's already checked that room. He's not going back there for a while. I'll go over there now.
Well, here we go. Another gun round. Double orb setup. It seems that VirtusPro want to be there. Like, Chad and I have kind of analysed this extensively. We don't think the double orb is the best setup. Piali once again. He's struggling in the drop-down room. It's going to be Lucas this time. Very good game from him. A double frag once again. He's still alive. Wants a bit more here. Neo actually missing the spray, and he's on 1 HP. Surely that's the end of his rampage.
It is indeed. Neo knew he was in the corner. Made no mistake of pre-firing it. 1 HP. It even came through a cobblestone wall to take him down, as now it's going to be a convergence to the A site. Snacks goes to cannons, capping the smoke on either side, but no opening in it. There might be toward top ramp, but only if he could survive long enough, because they've swung around behind him on this site. You might have expected him to find the shot on steel, but no luck this time for Snacks as Pasha battles off from inside of the hut. Bolts finds him. Neo inside of the site. Steel wins that exchange as well. Another round for Immortals. They go 6 in a row.
They're looking great, aren't they? Pumped up. They said the major qualifier was good for them. Not the cleanest of events, but still got the result they wanted. The first one they'll be at the major coming up in a couple of weeks. Well, less than that. And we go into VirtusPro, giving yet another round away here after going up 4-0. They are getting pulverized right now, especially towards drop down. That's the problem right now. Bialy unable to actually do anything about it seems. Lucas this time, as with KNG before, just running in and helping himself to the first frag. Henny this time, he does the very same. Takes down Snacks at the very beginning of the round. 5 on 4. Only pistols and some HE grenades. Bialy has some body armor. Need more than that to defend the drop down run, I think. But now Immortals got that first pick, sticking together. This is great for them so far. But the thing is, on Cobblestone with VP, you can never count them out, right? They're the kings that come back on this map, I would say. They've done it so many times at big tournaments. You think they're out of it, then all of a sudden they find like 6 rounds in a row in the second half, and then we're back into it. Some heartbroken moments thinking back to likes of North, for example.
Steel gets inside of the drop room. Bialy's already lost most of his team inside B, so he's really not sure where he should be and where to look. He just goes down as a result. Couple slaps, couple fist bumps, but VirtusPro need to do more than that to lift their spirits and confidence. They need to get around. Snacks goes back to one of 2 AWPs. You just talked about this double op setup. Pasha's got the other, not surprisingly, and I expect it'll be the same setup as always. Pasha toward B, Snacks toward long, and so far that's the case. Snacks already actually out toward danger. He won't go for the full peak this time. They are close. They're playing a default Immortals to try and contain Snacks, I feel like, as much as anything. Smoke down toward danger for exactly that reason. They're in fact able to push immediately behind Snacks. This is a huge gap in the defense. They're doubling up the drop room for defense. Snacks is so far removed today. They're actually at the top middle already, so they have to come back through tight choke points just to get the position. And Henny knows Snacks is out there.
Yeah.
He's just going to go straight toward him. He's going to be ready for it, or is he? Not scoped in. Snacks gets one back, and Taz thankfully wins the battle against KNG. But they definitely know what Snacks is up to every round.
Yeah, well, can't lock him down this time. Lucas does get 1 frag in return, but Pasha Bison there to recover the situation. Bialy goes 1 step further as well. Finally, a round for VirtusPro after losing 7 in a row. They do manage to post number 5 on the board. Immortals, pretty much the same approach for them, focus on that drop-down area. Like you said, VirtusPro with 2 players there this time, looking much stronger, and the orbs coming to life. Back to that double orb setup, and Snacks, he pointed out, it looked like he was dead to rights there, but taken down was Henny. Round number 13. He got a fast first half, but here we go. Immortals looking to win it. They bring out another full buy. They've still got a lot of money in the bag. Still 8 grand even after the reinvestment. So absolutely fine going forward. Not the same story though for VP. Another great headshot from Lucas. Fast up middle. Just complete change of pace. I like this.
He's already at the top of Juliet. 8 through for Lucas. Knows that they're likely close to the door, so watch the damage. Snacks again from long this time. Confused on a second shot, but still finding the opener. And winning in the fact that they're trying to go through and segregate him. He's still alive in the round. Good shot from Bolts, but Snacks gets him back immediately. Lucas and Henny against Snacks and Pasha. It's 3 of 4 players left on the AWP, the exception being, obviously, when you list those names, is Lucas, as he sits with the rifle. And he sits beside his brother as they work together. It's Snacks to back off as well. Bombs down toward the A site. They know that. Know exactly where they are. Snacks again is going to step wide. That's 3 kills for him in the round as Henny's going to go hunting. It's now 3 ops left.
Oh, hit him.
Through the stable he did indeed, and then goes wide with the pistol to confirm the kill.
Just when it looked like they'd done everything perfect there on Immortals. Snags is such a nuisance along A, hitting every single orb shot. And then the last one as well, just insult to injury. The wall bang through the stable, and he finishes things off with a 5-7 as well. He seems so confident that he'd done that damage. Very, very good stuff from Snags. Immortals, the reason they changed the pace and go for a 5-man rush middle, because of VirtusPro, they know they've adapted to them finally. They're putting 2 players in towards that drop-down position. Let's just rush middle. We'll have the number advantage. They hit the first few shots, bolts, lighting up the scoreboard at the start, but Snags, he's so strong on the A side of the map. You can be happy with him holding that area by himself. Delivers another great performance there. 7-6. Immortals on their final bye here. Won't have money for the last round if they don't win this one. It's going to be a much slower pace round though. Presumably focusing once again towards drop down. Maybe going for a wall of smoke execution towards the B side of the map. But Pasha, ready and waiting, wants to take this challenge.
Taz and Snax both over toward A. Good shot. KNG wins against Pasha, so they've given up on trying to isolate Snax. That didn't work the last 2 rounds. Let's go back to basics. Let's go back to B. Strat's getting caught off. Neo gets bolts. KNG's able to slip behind him. I don't think he knows he's there. KNG, gets spotted though by Bialy first, and then Neo responds. I'm not sure Neo had a sense that he was even in that position, so perhaps Bialy saves him in that sense. It gives them now the man advantage, missed timing, and the fact that Henny's up close. Neo gets dinked down to 26, but Taz has doubled up toward the window. He's very good, we know, at holding that. In fact, last year at Cologne, he had many rounds where he shut down that window, specifically, I believe, against SK.
Absolutely. He's very good there.
So Henny the last alive, round 14. Immortals want 8 to secure the half, but he's got quite the task. His first kill, with 3 still to find. He has the bomb to work with, but not anymore. Snax has already found him. He got him from the drop room, and even if he hadn't, they had the flank in position, so there was nowhere for Immortals to go. And we saw a little snap of information, but that's gone. I think it's something about space soldiers. I'm assuming that they're leading.
12-3 in the first half. That's insane.
T side? I didn't actually look at the side.
Yeah, CD side, yeah.
Still, that's ridiculous.
That's a really cool storyline. If they do that to kick off the tournament, they're going to be ones to watch. Imagine them in the playoff. Crazy. But anyway, let's get into the final round here. VirtusPro versus Immortals. VirtusPro after losing 7 rounds in a row. Recovering now. Seems like their adjustments have worked out for them. Like I said, money would be broken, but still, that doesn't bother him. It's going to be Neo this time. From the drop-down area that gets taken down. Still with the advantage, I would say, in terms of the firepower. It's going to be Lucas, though, probably taking that away from the Bialy. A really rough game for him, but Pasha, he is the last line of defense, trying to do what he can, but doesn't look like it's enough.
Snax back in the window from drop, gets Henny. He just made himself comfortable. A shot from Snax on 3 HP. Legs up, bolts in the back of the site, but unfortunately he's gone down. Steel continued to push, and Steel will take the AWP to take down Taz. 8-7. Immortals win the half after starting down 4-0. Bit of a brawl at the end. But this is anyone's game. I won't say VirtusPro's back just yet, but Immortals certainly are looking alive.
It was good adjustments for VirtusPro. They didn't seem overwhelmed. They were changing things up, and they were really happy to go with that double offset. I don't think Immortals abused that enough, but they were abusing drop-down zone for sure. Once they realized that Bialy wasn't having the greatest of games, keep going in there dry. AK-47s in his face. It was actually very impressive. And we'll see whether VirtusPro can bounce back here. I've been impressed so far what they've been presenting, but want to see a bit more. We'll take a quick break and find out.
Every time you two are getting rough, my mind just sounds like Shia LaBeouf. It says no, 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 no. Just no, 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 no. And every time I see him with you, my heart sounds like Shia LaBeouf too. No, 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 no. No, no. sounds like Shia LaBeouf. It says no, 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 no. Just no, 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 no. And every time I see him with you, my heart sounds like Shia LaBeouf too. No, 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 no. No, no. No, 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 no.
You're my Shia LaBeouf, Henry.
It's true.
Absolutely. Well, that said, we've got a game on our hands. We've got a game on the other stream, it seems, as well as we were looking into that during our break. It seems SK are making a bit of a comeback on the T side. It was up to 12-10 as we cut away. And this stream, 8-7 as we get into the second half. Pistol Immortals with the slight edge. They've gone a little more heavy on pistol buys rather than armor in this round. They've got a CZ and a nade on bolts, a smoke and a kit for steel on this T side. It's 2 flashes still in play, but smoke's already down, and they want the B site. They're going to stick with the Glocks, even though they have the lack of armor on 2 players. It's Henny that starts it off well. Good headshot on the second player, Taz. Steel is there to follow up and get Neo after he had gone down. So Pasha and Bialy inside of the site make that just Pasha. Have yet to get a bomb plant and don't have much to work with in terms of position. Pasha will try and get himself out of a cage, but he won't escape KNG.
He will not. Pretty standard execution there from VirtusPro. Couple of smokes deployed, one towards the drop-down area, one towards connector as well. Flashing over, trying to trade frags, but they weren't looking at Chicken Coop. Aggro taken away from that area. Henny strikes. He gets 2, I think maybe 3 kills in total. I think it was 2. And manages to win the round. KNG rotating in as well. Teammate bought him enough time. And no bomb going down, but we could see an interesting idea from VirtusPro. Most teams do force buy in the second round. They have got the deagles out, but no armor. So whether they're trying to plan something interesting for round number 3, I'm not sure, but I'd assume it's just a different variation, not going all in, having more money for the actual gun round itself. But deagles certainly can cause damage on this map, keep it nice and long range. Pasha's had some good shots with it already, trying to work the upper platform here. Will they be gifted a chance? Doesn't look like it just yet. Using that HE to fall back. Nice play there from Bolts. They just want to make sure they win this round. Immortals, this means so much to them. We kick off another tournament here with a 1-0. They have got 2 rifles to work with, 3 SMGs. MP7 making another appearance here. Seems to be coming into the meta more and more these days.
Yeah, Immortals famously chasing the Swiss system, with the exception of Katowice, so they'd like to get off on a good start again and then hold that. Go 2-0 for a change, perhaps. Bolts putting his best effort in to do so. Gets 2, make it 3. Good kills. Shots down mid from KNG will tag Taz to 2 HP, and he'll pursue the position just to hold the angle, make sure he doesn't escape back out toward middle to keep the information. Bombs down toward T-spawn, or excuse me, T hallways, Henry. They kind of lead to T-spawn. It's not really the same thing. Fine. It is just Taz remaining with the deagle in hand, and really not a hope other than just a kill or 2, and even that would be a challenge. Exactly why. Steel's able to take him down. We go to double digits for Immortals first. But we get ready for the guns for VirtusPro in the round after this. They haven't invested too heavily, so the fact is Pasha could actually get an AWP out in the first gun round.
We'll see what he decides to do. It was an interesting approach from VirtusPro. Normally, if you don't get the bomb down the pistol, you're fully investing into round number 2. Everything you've got. Just eagles there, but quite a conservative approach. The Immortals do hit double digits now. They'll be able to keep up their MP7s and UMPs. Just opening the bathroom doors there. For some reason, I don't know why, but having a look inside just in case. No one in there, unfortunately, for him. As we enter round number 18 here, not really much VirtusPro can do with this one. They've got PT-50 sure. 1 flashbang, though. Maybe waiting for the initial utility to be used by the CTs. Flash into a key position and try and trade a frag. Very unlucky the bomb goes down, but got to have hope.
Bolts is going to push up as well with the SMG. Long beat. Already up to the archway leading to the tunnel, smoked off. UMP to work with. It's going to spot them now as that fades, but spots too many of them. How does he control the situation? Well, gets a double. That's reasonable. Snacks will take him down, though. There's a gun there available for them. He wants to go get it, but he has the bomb, so a bit of a risk, and he's not in position to capitalize. Tries to get flashed in by his teammate. It actually lands directly beside him and fully blinds him up.
Well, they've got 1 frag, but Bolts, he's taking down 2. Snacks has recovered the UMP, and we'll see whether Still can add to the frag, totally can't. He didn't really have to commit to that by himself. It gives that UMP a chance to cause even more damage here. Now it's getting quite uncomfortable with the CTs. Taz coming towards the window with his favoured positions, takes a nade to the face though. Unarmoured, that's going to do considerable damage, down to 16 HP. KNG though, this is a bit messy for Immortals, I have to say. No armour, no nade, just PG-50s here. Looks like it'll be recovered, but didn't have to be this expensive, I have to say. Henny with a nice shot to finish things off. Almost got a hand there.
Yeah, that would have been catastrophic for Immortals.
Yeah.
Sitting at only 10 rounds, give a round to VirtusPro, give them economy to work with. Those are odds. They've shifted.
Our friends at Betway. Who would you have favoured going into this one, all things considered?
I don't know. It is a bigger event. We haven't seen VirtusPro in a while. We know they've been putting in effort. Immortals are coming off of a qualifier. I might have favored VirtusPro just for the fact that they're due for a result, but then I wouldn't be convinced to see them have that same result for the whole tournament. I might have seen them kind of hit that first game, first stride. It's tough. I do think this one was quite even.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. But here we go. Lucas looking to level the playing field. He's going to take that first kill down. Neo responds, though. He's got considerable damage towards Taz as well. Henny, known to be a very good close-range AWPer. Going to have his work cut out for him here as he looks toward long A, stuck in a stables position.
Steel behind the APC as well as Henny's going to back up. Steel's recognized the fact that no one's been watching Dropper Connector. They could actually be slipping up behind him, so he can't afford to peek front sight just yet. And in not doing so, he's left Henny sitting in the open. Good response from Pasha. We said he was saving for that AWP. Well, he's brought it out and showing us why. As he gets a pick on entry, it's down to Steel 1 versus 2. Good shot with an M4 of all weapons to take down Pasha's AWP, not needing to overpeak Bialy. He goes back for a third try, and the AK wins, so VirtusPro take the first gun round.
Touch and go, I have to say. Lots of money available for Immortals. Maybe not the case for VirtusPro. Just about win the round there. Steel did everything he could from behind the APC. Lovely shot, I have to say, to take down the AWPer as well. Bialy, very quiet game for him by his standards. That kill brings him up to 8 and 14, but it's a huge round. And you can see it's the first gun round going in favor of VirtusPro. Full bite does come in. We'll see how convincing it is for the city side. Double AWP setup, so they didn't have to do that. They could have dropped a rifle perhaps, but opting for the sniper rifles and then one M4, a couple of pistols as well. Pasha boosted up, looking for any aggression from these CTs. You would expect it to come in as well, considering the buy they have available to them. Bolts, like I said, yeah, flashbang, try and get that first pick. Perfect boost there from the VirtusPro side, and now they can slow things right down. Don't have to overcommit. Still, the reaction is from the CT side. What's the play here? Do they try and push any sort of part of the map towards long A? Danger. Maybe boost up from drop down, but can't really do too much with this. Good news is that they still have both orbs up. One towards top and middle, that's KNG. Henny at the back of the B site, behind the statue position. So it looks like we'll have a VirtusPro B commitment momentarily. Don't have to rush here. Things considered. Still have smokes to work with as well. Snacks with the bomb. We'll give that to Taz though. Wants to operate alone, it seems.
Smoke to be set for Bialy. From Bialy. And it'll go to the wall. Double up M4, Steel. The M4 gets close enough, drops Taz with bomb. 40 seconds, they can grab that, but it's inside of the site. They have to commit, and Pasha will help them do so as Henny flashes through. No smoke on the backside of the statue. He fires a shot early. They know exactly where he is, and he misses the shot on Bialy that allows them closer for the plant. KNG. He at least gets one over the edge of the statue to find Neo. He knows as well that Snack's inside of the drop room, and he's now stuck in the site, surrounded by them. Oh. That shot would have bailed him out, potentially even given him a way to save at the very least, but misses it. Snack stays alive. Bialy takes him down. VirtusPro find 2 in a row. We go 11-9.
Yeah, and probably 11-10, all things considered, because Immortals now, that was technically a force, but they got double AWP. Sure, that's great, but 2 players on pistols, 1 and 4. They were clutching at straws at best there. So Bolts tried to get flashing towards the upper platform, couldn't find anything for it, and VirtusPro just slowing things down there. The 5 and 4 smokes out, takes some slow map control there, and Henny missing some key shots, and the B side was fully exposed. And okay, that's a nice little rush on the CTs, but they're mowed down one by one with his Mac 10s, and the round is over before we even get a chance to finish our sentence. It's going to be a quick one for Immortals. They knew they had nothing to work with there. Try and rush through, and a surprising tactic, I guess, but the Mac 10s ready and waiting. That adds to the coffers quite considerably of VirtusPro. Do they keep these Mac 10s, Matt? What do you think?
Mac Daddy, baby.
Yeah, that's your call.
Yeah.
Do it. Just get it. I guess why not? You've got a huge round here. If you do manage to win it with something very fast towards drop down, both Mac 10s going together, that could be quite an interesting idea. They're going to be setting up the smokes. So this is a big execution off the very start. This is something from the boot camp, I think.
I was going to say, I was just about
This
to
is
spot
something
this.
new.
This is like NIP smokes to be.
Yeah, but normally you do these smokes like as you're rushing, you have like 2 players doing it. I've never seen it like that before, like 4 players lining up like that just for a set piece. It looks quite interesting.
So down they go. It's a deep wall, leaving the entirety
God,
of the
it's crazy.
platform. That's really cool. Now, the problem is that it leaves the platform, so they have to confront Henny at some point in time, and there is a player in Hobbit Hole, which could spoil it all, except... Oh, that's even cooler.
Look at it.
They drop down into the alley, they go behind their own smokes, and they reverse the play. They're going to retake, essentially, the site from the CTs. They get behind them. Oh, I love the... That's so intuitive and brilliant. That's awesome. Great to see VirtusPro getting creative. Snacks takes down KNG. It's only Lucas remaining. They had no idea how to respond.
So it looks like the wall of smoke is a traditional one, right? But you could see a path being burrowed for them on the right-hand side. They go by the tree, through the smokes, and then, like you said, retake the site. The CTs have no idea what's going on. They think, is this a fake? Is it actually coming towards it? They're going towards A? No, that's a brilliant new strategy we've seen from VirtusPro. The boot camp definitely paying off, and Immortals wondering what in God's name just happened to them. I've never seen that before.
They
That's
even
a great
thought,
strategy.
if we get inside of the smokes, because that's
Yeah.
usually the hard part,
Yeah,
is getting
exactly.
inside the wall. So they're inside them,
You
and
think,
then
"We've
guess
got it,
what?
boys,
We're
ready to
behind
go."
you. Yeah, that is super cool. That one smoke as well, in front of the hole in the wall, lets them drop in so convincingly.
That was very cool indeed.
Question is that, I mean, that almost has some adaptation to it as well, because you don't necessarily have to wrap around behind them. You can still just take the site with the smokes down. So how do you counter that?
Well, that's quite a large hand VirtusPro has shown us in the first game of Cologne.
No
here.
shaving strats for the major.
No, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Like they seem to be giving everything away in the first game. I guess when you're kind of trying to revigorate the team and get everyone back into a winning mentality, just throwing everything you've got into these games, making sure you win against kind of opposition you would expect to. Against Immortals, you'd say VirtusPro, obviously a more decorated team in terms of CSGO. But that was kind of interesting. I haven't seen that in that kind of intuitive play in a long time. That was really cool. So it was 11-11, sure, but it looks like we might have a server issue. They're talking about it on the server right now. They're on pause. I think we're okay. We're absolutely fine. It has to be an eco for the Immortals side. As we get into round number 23. CZs, PT50s, some Deagles as well. No armor, no nades. Immortals shouldn't be able to find too much here. But lots of money now. That's VirtusPro with Mac 10s as well, Matt. So for all the smokes lining up from T-Spawn, that's definitely like NIP. You're absolutely right, because you can use those same smokes, right?
Yep.
Then rush off towards A.
You can
the same
do
sort of
3
thing.
or 4 different things with those.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you can do 8 splits of that. You can do that fake we just saw, or just do commit to a full B execution.
You could actually, even if they want to play inside, you could actually rush down alley and reverse it and go to A through connector.
Yeah,
You could reverse
that's what I
sweep.
thought they were doing.
I thought so too, and then it was even cooler because they turned.
I thought, wow, this is so interesting. And then they just completely flipped it around. That was actually quite an exciting moment, I think.
Especially the player Cubby, who's like, I'm inside of the smoke. This is no. Oh wait, what are you doing there?
You're not even coming this side? Okay.
I think it was KNG.
Yeah, and the thing, the smokes go down at that point, and he's just in the open essentially, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Bolt Stiegel burrowed into the stairwell at B. The other part of that is Bolts was actually at Hobbit, which I thought if they walk in is like the perfect position to counter, because they're going to go in so quickly with those smokes down that he's not going to be detected, and they don't even go near him. They completely bypass it. Let's see if he does better with a Deagle this time. He may find one. He's got the crosshair placement, but look at Taz sneaking in, gets the AK shot. Stacked up toward the stairs. Henny's going to play Hobbit this time. Molotov'd out toward KFC. Actually, take that back. They put it right in front of him. I didn't see that one thrown, so they push him out of position. They're definitely reading everything, VirtusPro, and they are in control of this game. They're going to take down KNG. It leaves Lucas. All 5 were staying alive. Lucas does manage to get one. He's going to try and rotate himself. Well, okay, back to the same position. I thought maybe toward drop as bomb gets planted. That's to do as much economic damage as possible, but they're building cash, VirtusPro, and they've definitely taken the lead now, 12-11.
Yeah, they've got stacks for days. It's like every player's on $10,000. Definitely not the same story for Immortals, but they do have enough for double orbs at least on the chase right now as they lose the lead, 12-11. It's going to be 5 rounds in a row for VirtusPro after losing the pistol, going down 3-0. Looking very good right now, and they're sending 4 players outside B once again. Are they lining up the same smokes? They're not. Back to a more default round here, round number 24. CT adjustments. Let's see if we can find any. KNG with the other orb. He's towards long A. Snacks-esque. Lucas backing him up towards danger, just watching his back. And for now, VirtusPro slowing things right down. Pash is still the main AWP, it seems, on the CT and T side. That's always been a question mark on VirtusPro. They do have the ability to mix things up. Neo, Snacks definitely have the potential to be main AWPers as well. And they did say their boot camp has meant they've been adjusting everything, and we've seen one of their really cool strategies already. I'm intrigued to see what they bring on other maps as well.
That also says to me that they're happy letting this go to the best of ones. We often see a neutral ground map. Immortals, we know, like this map. So the fact that it got here, I was thinking, okay, maybe Immortals are onto something. VirtusPro's clearly prepared. Very clearly done some work to polish their map pool. We already knew they were decent on Cobble, but that's a very creative, innovative. And that smoke. Well, that's going to be very thin any second, and it is thin enough. He's got Pasha down. Finally, the opening pick for Immortals. It's been a while since they've had one to work with. They desperately need this gun round as well, especially with a double op purchase.
Good. Still adds to the total as well. It's got the clean sweep coming in from Immortals here. It's going to be Bialik, the last player remaining. He can't find the frag, and it's going to be Henny to open things up with the AWP, funneling them towards that drop-down position. Steel was ready for them, and they managed to bring a round back in their favour. 12-12 now, as we do have them. Plenty of cash to work with. That's a nice clean round, only one player going down. So they'll bring the double upset out once again. Still a defuse kits here. VirtusPro, as we said, they had so much money to work with. Still have a buy in hand here, even if you lose this round. So do they bring another strategy in? That's the question. 5 players towards A. It looks like it's a complete change of what we saw in the previous round.
We actually haven't seen VirtusPro go A too many rounds. Unlike Immortals that we mentioned were trying to isolate Snacks. That seemed to be a large part of their game plan. It worked early on, but then he shut it down himself. He took authoritative action. Ooh, good timing. We talk about that corner a lot and that particular flashbang because a lot of operators will wait to shoot. Some don't. He certainly did not. He gets one for it, but Lucas is found by Snacks. KNG's gone toward danger, and he's gone back up to find Snacks and the bomb, and what a shot on Pasha! KNG! Perhaps the best round we've seen since he's been on Immortals. He'll go down eventually, but 4 absolutely huge kills as Bialy is the last remaining survivor on VirtusPro.
That was so sick from KNG. 2 no-scopes into the mix as well. It's up to Bialy to try and recover the 3-on-1 situation. Hasn't had the best game. He won't be doing anything dramatic in round number 25. Still takes him down. But oh my god, KNG, you're absolutely right. Probably one of the absolute best rounds we've seen from him since he joined. That was insane. I thought the first shot was good towards long A. And he just keeps hitting no-scope after no-scope. No stopping this man in round number 25. It's going to be a big round for him. Doesn't shut down the money just yet for VirtusPro, but the excitement levels definitely rising now in the first game here.
The king. Man, oh man. No one's getting around long corner today. It doesn't matter which side.
Yeah.
You're right. It doesn't get the economy gone yet. VirtusPro still have a chance in this, but very important round for both teams in that sense. So timeout called, or is it?
Bit of both. Maybe a timeout and a technical issue. I'm not sure.
Seems like it's tech, but they have to be quiet in this. What's the call going to be? It's almost worth calling a tactical on the back of this technical because do they go aggressive with the op again for Pasha? He's got 7,400.
Sure.
And they would be in 3rd round loss bonus, so I guess they can justify it. It should be straightforward in that sense.
Well, Immortals with the lead for now. But yes, technical pause. As the server had a couple of issues, I believe. KNG looking incredibly sharp there. So anyone who's not aware, he is the latest pickup for Immortals. He replaced FNX. Once he left the team, we were all kind of wondering who the replacement would be, but KNG coming in as a main AWP player, actually, and brought in to kind of work with Henny, and he seems to be very proficient with the rifles as well, to be fair to him, but great for these double AWP setups, and you can see what he can do with that weapon.
And we've already got the interesting result you were talking about. 16-14 Space Soldiers have beaten SK.
No way!
To start things off on the B stream.
Okay,
that's
this tournament
ridiculous. Yeah, this is very exciting. If anyone thought the major status was the only thing that made Cologne, my god, you're wrong. This is so much more. This is already starting out to be amazing.
It actually happened. I've had to get up my chair. That's too much. SK Gaming, the number...
It's a stool, but yes, you are out of it.
Yeah, well, they don't know that. Either way, SK Gaming managing to drop a map to Space Soldiers, a team that no one's really had in their books of doing anything. Obviously, like we always said, they've got skilled players and they have decent results online, but still, that's unbelievable.
We're going to actually, in a second here, bring up the last round of that game. So it's for 15-14. We obviously know the score. This is how it went down. If you don't have a dual monitor, aren't watching both streams, or maybe you are and you just want to see it again because I'm looking at the buy. It's a double op setup, Deagle, M4 UMP for Space Soldiers against a full bot in SK, who have already worked back into this. So how does this transpire? Pretty aggressive setup in mid from CT, I
It's
have
not
to
looking
say.
good in terms of, like, they got UMPs, deagles, right? No kits, no armor on one of the orbs. So technically SK have a huge advantage here, but and they get the first pick as well.
I was going to say, it must be an early pick that gives them the... Well, that's gone. That theory is out.
We'll have a look. Xantares, probably the biggest name within Space Soldiers. Let's see if he can step up here. Bit of map control from SK, biding their time, looking good for them so far. Waiting for the CT reactions to come in, and maybe that's their downfall.
It may have been. It's kind of interesting to cast around where we know the outcome, but we don't know how.
But it's such
We've
a
not
dramatic
had a
result,
chance
I
to
guess.
see it. It's massive. I mean, Fur just gets flashed in twice. Doesn't peek on it. And bomb leading toward A, so... And rotations off the site. This must be a sloppy exchange to start it. Major pushes with an AWP. He's on his own. There's someone behind him at Squeaky. No one's opened the door yet. And Fur is hesitant as ever to try and wait for them to get into A main. So that actually slowed down the play a lot and brought a rotation back. That kill is probably the most substantial kill in the entire round.
There we go, the final commitment from SK. Xantares, like we said, the star name, he goes down. So this is the recovery from SK Gaming. Still with the CTs in the lead. Cold Zero, I guess, low HP. It just crumbles because they've only got 10 seconds. And 2-on-2. Does the bomb even go down?
It can't.
Might be
Oh,
denied.
no. That's, yeah, it'd be denied. Oh, what a shot from Paz to do it. That's incredible. That round, I have to say, is one off of Major pushing A main and staying alive as well, because SK did not trade him back, and they were just starting to rotate back to B with no one inside of B at all to get information. As soon as he spots that, they all came back. So that's pretty massive, I have to say.
It is pretty massive map. And hopefully, I think we're back into our game almost certainly. Technical timeout, as you can see. We had a couple of server issues here, but it's VP chasing Immortals now. It's been quite an up and down game, I have to say. I've been interested to see what Immortals can bring to the table after making it to the major finally. They're up 13-12 right now here on Cobblestone. VirtusPro, definitely in some poor form generally in the last few months. But they said the boot camp's working out for them. They've had some very interesting strategies in terms of the execution towards that A side of the map as well. The first time we've seen that. It's similar, like you said, the NIP smoke, the first time we saw those for, oh, there's a lot of options with that. So many fakes you can do. And do they bring anything to that sort of vibe right now? It doesn't look like it. Round number 26. VirtusPro 12, Immortals 13. Double orb set up for the CTs.
Pasha. Trying to get closer with the AWP. Look at how fast this flank's coming in. Oh my goodness, Bolts is behind them and they're still setting up. He's going to get free kills. He's got two, snaps it over and gets Bialy as well. That should have been traded back. That's so big, so audacious for him to push all the way around and get to P tunnels when we were still at 1:30 by the time he'd pushed through A.
Very, very impressive stuff. Bolts has been the star player and then some for Immortals in the last few weeks. It's been great to see. Pasha now with Snacks, trying to recover the situation. They've got an all for Pasha. Just hoping a mistake's made. They've only found one kill so far. That's after 3 have gone down. So Pasha needs to work hard here. He's got no nades to work with. Snacks has the Molotov, but they're separated. Snacks towards long A with the bomb as well. If he gets dropped, that's round over. Needs to be very careful as Pasha repositions, trying to help him out. Don't really have much to work with it. So with no smoke, how do they cross to the A side? Have to use that Molotov very intelligently.
Smoke. Another flash, excuse me, from Snacks. Pasha will follow up. Molotov to push them back.
Gets the position away as well. He fires the weapon. They might just save her.
This will put Immortals on 14, and we talked about finally breaking down the bank. Save would be smart almost for that reason. The money is going to be with a third round bonus just around the threshold where maybe they could justify forcing with the 2 guns that they do save and try and keep this off of overtime point. But Immortals are now 2 away.
Well, they'll be just about enough to buy with the money they have remaining. There's the frags and Bolts. What a backstab that was. 3 in total as well. They just didn't see that coming whatsoever. Tunnel vision from them in terms of the B setup. Is it an interesting idea from the CT to push through those mid doors? Bit of a gamble for sure, but if you get through, can cause a lot of damage there.
So they can have enough to force on this. And I'm almost not opposed to it because I think money's whittling away. If you lose the guns anyway, you're not going to have much to work with moving forward. So, I think you have to. I think that's the only call to make.
With 2 weapons saved and you're 1 round away from match point as well, I think you have to, definitely. So VirtusPro, definitely up against the ropes right now, but a saved AWP and AK-47. Pasha hasn't exactly been electric with the AWP, I have to say. I think Snacks is probably their best AWP by far in terms of what he can bring to them in terms of like high impact. Yeah, definitely. Like they're 2 different disciplines, but I think Snacks generally what he does with that weapon is like unbelievable at times. You saw him when he's doing a long A on the CT side as well. He can hold lines if he has to, and he can also be very aggressive. I think Pasha's like he's good for 1 kill potentially with the round. I just don't see him like ever carrying with the AWP. But we'll see. He obviously has the weapon this time. He's currently top fragging for them, 23 kills, doing a decent job. 27. Here we go. Immortals looking for match point here in the best of 1.
Pasha down toward long, waiting for an opportunity. If Bolts goes up, he may get one, but it's smoked off, so he won't have that chance. Let's Bialy get up behind the box. They can go for the boost. They've made it work before when the pistols tried to peek, but this time they're just going to leave Bialy there on his own. They'll go back and put some pressure on the drop instead. Snacks gets down as well. Shot to mask his noise from falling. Bolts.
Nice shot.
Decent step up. Yep, taking Bialy as well. That means Pasha doesn't have a support system to try and bring the op into position. He's going to go alone. They now have 2 down the drop room as well, so this will be a B split. Bomb toward drop, 3rd one down. Behind the window, they've got Steel waiting, but he's going to allow them in. Neo's already got to the door as well, so this becomes a bit awkward. Thankfully, Bolt steps up. This could be that point with no money left. Immortals, oh, they could go up 0-1. Imagine a world where we have Fnatic, SK, VP all 0-1 to start off this tournament. That makes the second round even more incredibly difficult.
What a difference a year makes here at ESL on Cologne. Who would have thought that would be the way to kick things off? Well, 15-12 does come in. VirtusPro need 3 in a row now to force overtime, and it's not looking good for the start of that campaign. Tech9s, CZs, 1 UMP as well. Not a single rifle here. They do have the utility to come with. Do they go for the execution once again? Doesn't look like that's the case. Not going to see at least the one we saw before. They do go towards the B side of the map here. HG's using the very start of the round. Still with smokes in their back pockets, Molotovs as well. You'd assume it has to be a wall of smokes towards B. It's the only way I see them actually getting into a bomb site and potentially getting a bomb down here against the double orb setup. That makes a lot of sense. Flashbangs being deployed, smokes being lined up as well. Last chance something for VirtusPro. What have they got?
Smoke bounced into the alleyway. Nothing toward the tree, but no one boosted. Set smokes all the way across. This is the more strategical and standard wall as they drop in to take out Steel. Side of the E-box. They've got to watch window. That pulls the second player at connector back, and therefore opens up more space in the site. But Henny is taking that space away, and Immortals will go 16-12. They pull it off in the end, despite the early momentum of 3 rounds, getting snapped back as 5 in a row for VirtusPro. They took a slight lead and overcome it. And VirtusPro so close, yet still not there. Innovative nonetheless with their smokes. They've clearly improved. They look alive in this event, but Immortals definitely topped them.
Yeah, they said they made the qualifier, helped them out as a team tremendously, continuing that form here as well, especially Bolts. What an amazing few rounds he had as well. Some big moments from KNG with the AWP as well. They look like a solid unit on Cobblestone generally. They actually win the half in the first, and then VirtusPro pull it back and forth, and then as soon as the money got broken, Immortals looked like the much better team, especially towards that upper platform.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bolts because after a technical timeout, a lengthy one, where the momentum was definitely still in favor of VirtusPro, he pushes out from A in 30 seconds into the round and pincers them in the B tunnel. So I'm super, super impressed. One Brazilian team with success. That's not SK. It's Immortals. They'll go up 1-0. A great win. We'll go to a break. Continue on.
had the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way couldn't keep us from the sea. Here we stand, open arms. This is home where we are, ever strong in the world that we made. I still hear you in the breeze, see your shadows in the trees, holding on, memories never change.
The Pay Safeguard post-match breakdown.
ESL 1 Cologne, and it does seem there's been our fair share of surprises to kick off our time here. Welcome back to the analyst desk. I'm joined by none other than Chad Birchall and Janko Paunovic, and we are going to hopefully put into perspective what has just happened over the course of both the A and the B stream, starting of course with what you guys have just been watching. VirtusPro taking on Immortals on Cobble. The odds from our sponsor and from the audience gave VP the edge, and it turns out Immortals have come up back, kind of firing on the momentum that they talked about from the major qualifier.
Absolutely, and it did seem at the beginning that VP was actually the one who came super prepared for this tournament, started off great, but Immortals managed to find a way back into the game, and then in second half were just able to close it out without really too much problems, despite seeing some cool things from VP.
There was some cool things from VP, and I guess I'm kind of chomping at the bit to talk about some of those cool things. Chad, you were desperate to be able to kind of talk about this one, because, I mean, your eyes were up. Henry wanted to stand up from his chair.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Yeah, well, I was talking about the fact that they've gone and done their homework and they've put some work in to have some new strategies, and we saw that come out. And the way that they actually used a closed platform smoke to shroud their way, jumping out to run through that run-up lane, I don't know what you want to call it, to the backside of block, and then enter the bomb site through their own smokes was nuts, because when this happened, it forced all the Immortals guys, they're doing the right thing. They want to take the jewel, so they're all playing in front of that wall of smokes, ready to fight the players, but they've snuck around the back. And when you come in from behind them, now there's so many different angles that the Immortals players have to watch, and it's just easy cleanup right now for VP to get those close fights and take the bomb site.
Because I imagine there's also paranoia that they could be coming from plateau.
Exactly.
Well, right?
You have to assume that, right? Because that's what you'd expect with the strategy. They obviously spotted them running in that direction, but there's just so many. There's a 5v5 at that point.
How many people? Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and the cool thing with that is it just showed that VP, you know, like I was saying, they've definitely done the work. I think the problem with them is they relied on all that kind of stuff way too much.
Do you think there was perhaps a misbalance there, Jan? Could you like the strat, first of all?
Yeah, the strat is pretty cool. It's also important to know that the player who stayed on B platform, he was throwing flashes as the trio was running through lane, so that keeps, you know, the players who are on the other side of the smoke occupied. Also, obviously, the pop flash when they actually go through the smoke doesn't hurt, right? But yeah, for VP, it seemed like, yeah, that was a very cool execute. But what happens in the following round? You know, when you need to win consecutive rounds, nothing, they fall flat. And Immortals did a great job of just adapting and being on point individually.
Immortals made it a brawl, right? That's the way it looked when you had that KNG highlight over towards there, along with the AWP grabbing those 3 frags. In those kind of situations is when they were stepping up individually and making a lot of kills. And one for me that was actually probably the most pivotal point in that second half was that Bolt's push where he came up, he flanked behind, and VP being 2 strat heavy like I'm talking about, we're all throwing their smoke executes and running around doing the strategy. Boltz has just come up and said hello, taken 3 quick frags, and basically won the round, and they're the game for his team.
And that's where you know that's exactly a prime example of over-reliance on strategy. We've just been sitting here saying strategy is important. Some of these teams don't have enough.
You see the thing there?
There's another side.
That's the in-game leader who's just done another big boy play and just said, I'm just going to push middle on this really important round and go for a flank, and it's paid off, right? If his teammates did that and they died, it'd just be like, mate, what are you doing?
So just to clarify, is that brain dead Counter-Strike?
No.
That's
he had an in-game leader read, we call it.
A read.
Yeah.
That's what an in-game leader's answer.
They're allowed to do that, right? That's an in-game leader answer. Hey, you've done it as well, Janko. I'm sure
Absolutely.
you made those in-game leader plays.
Absolutely. I had a feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you said.
We're the only ones that can get away with that.
Okay, well, I have a feeling that we should go ahead and get Stunner up on the screen. Now, he's hanging out where the players are, so we're getting first-hand interviews from them during this Swiss format. Let's check in with him, because some action has gone down both here and on that B stream.
All right, guys, we're here with Space Soldiers Mayor right now. These guys just pulled off the impossible. We're seeing our first upset of ESL 1 Cologne 2017. Space Soldiers coming in 16-14 over SK Gaming. Just go ahead and give me how you feel, man.
We feel great. It was very difficult match. We started very well, but for the finish it was very complicated. But honestly, we are very happy because we finished the match. Yeah.
Well, talk to me a little bit about coming into this one, the mindset of Space Soldiers in terms of, you're playing SK, these guys are world champions, and you come here today. What was the preparation like going into this matchup?
Honestly, I prepared 2 maps, to be honest. Cable and Mirage, a lot of. I was planning to play Mirage, but with the veto, he lets on the pool cage, and it was not on my plan. And when I need to choose between Mirage and Cage, I didn't hesitate. I picked Cage because it's maybe, for me, the best map we have on T side. So, to be honest, on Cage we didn't prepare anything. I didn't know really anything what they did. We just play our game on T side, and everything was pretty cool. Like on T side we win 12-2, 12-3, so it was good.
Yeah, I mean, your first half was a monster half. SK is able to battle back, and they bring it to the ropes. There in the last round, I believe you guys are down 4v5. What's the feeling? What's the emotion going through your head at that point?
Honestly, we need to be. It was crazy, yes, but we need to be more calm in this kind of situation. We had the match. We win 12-3, like I said. If we want really to be a top team, we need to finish this match early. Like in the pistol, we have a lot of more. I don't remember what's happened on the Pistol City, but I know it was a 2v3. We had better position than them. I killed the bomber. Then we lost a clutch, really stupid clutch. So we need to finish the game more early, I think. But it's crazy sensation, yeah, crazy emotion.
I can imagine. I can see it in all your faces. Well, congratulations on beating SK in your opening match, and we're going to throw it back to you now, Alex.
Appreciate it, Trey. Yeah, really good interview, actually, getting to hear from Major. Not something you get to hear an awful lot from all the time, but he's also throwing a whole lot of light on the thought process in that game.
He's a very experienced player. A lot of people probably don't know. He used to play 1.6 in East Sahara with Sixer. And Sixer now is in Envious and stuff, right? So this guy, it's actually really good that he gets thrown in with all these young players like Calixons and Taras, and he's kind of the level-headed, experienced guy. And, it shows in that interview that that's what he is for the team, and it shows it's good for the boys to get that kind of win. It's a huge upset.
Yeah, and I mean, just to touch on it, we did have it up just on a second screen, Yanko. I know your attention was drawn to it. Any observations that kind of stood out to you? I mean, a 12-3 half, you go into CT side, and it just all comes crumbling down.
It was, if they win pistol, they will win this game 16-4 maybe. If they lose pistol, this is going to be a very, very close game, because you see it like for the underdog teams on the T side, as he said, they're super prepared, right? Everyone knows what they need to do. SK is probably not expecting you to be that good on that map. Maybe they underestimate you a little bit and so on. But then when you switch on the CT, that's where you need to have a very good read on the game, right? You have to be able to adapt on the fly, and that's usually where these teams kind of struggle a little bit. And SK realizes, obviously, in a very bad situation, they step it up. And we saw that, we didn't see it to the very end, but Colzera won that 1v3 to bring them to 15-14. You were thinking, okay, this is now overtime. Space Soldiers are on a week bye. We were walking over to the desk, and we just hear, oh, Space Soldiers won 16-14. Well, that's that then.
Yeah.
I'm so surprised they threw the game plan out the window there. He said we prepared 2 maps, Mirage and Cobble, and went, oh, we'll go with Cache. Yeah, why not?
I think that's a good sign, though, in a sense that you realize that even though you planned for something better, like a better opportunity presented itself, and you just took it without hesitation.
I look forward to seeing more from Space Soldiers. I'm sure we all do. We'll be getting to see much more of them as the day and, of course, the week does continue. For now, though, it's time for a first look at some new faces both on the desk, the casting desk, and in those gaming chairs as well. NIP versus Cloud9 is going to be kicking off. New look Nip taking on Cloud9, who want to make a splash here in ESL 1.